He's the only one waiting here. Let's see. Oh, coming fast. All right. I think we are up on everything. Just confirm.
Are we zoomed out?
It's usually a little wider. Honestly, I didn't set it up this morning. So let me see.
Oh, I set up so did you want me to zoom in a little?
No, it's sorry. We have to zoom out a bit because Instagram cross.
I mean, make it as tight as you can without getting too tight.
Probably do a little bit to prepare for the wall, guys. There you go.
Yeah, that's good. All right, we up?
Yep. Let me double check this face. YouTube does not stay live on Instagram. One second.
Instagram looks like we're for no, Instagram good. Yeah.
Okay,
That's good.
Oh, it's not showing you.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to the 034 Motorsport live chat. Or the, what are we calling it now? The no BS hour?
Bullshit hour or something? Yeah.
Yeah. Zero BS, I think it was. We talked a little bit about what zero BS means last week. So if you'd like to know about that, go check out the first 5 minutes of the previous live that we had last week. Anyways, we're here to answer and discuss all questions about all things 034. Anything you'd like to know about Volkswagen or Audi or even some BMW stuff. We take, as I said, a no BS approach to responding. And we're limiting. I was like eliminating and limiting. My brain was really clever on that one. We are limiting update questions on like when's this going to be done, when's that going to be done. Maybe we should call them nagging. No nagging.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, we just don't always have a good answer. We don't mind being nagged, but if we can't give you an answer, it doesn't make sense.
I love all the way that you guys are sneaking in. Not looking for a release date, but are you guys?
Yeah,
I mean, that's just a like. I guess is it still even a thing? It's like, yep.
Yeah, I don't mind answering that one. So, put the question of your choice into the browser of your browsing, and we will do our best here. Nate's not on eBay looking for 3D printing parts, I promise. He's actually working on answering and collating and cleaning up the questions as they come in, because sometimes they're indecipherable slightly.
Yes.
All right, let's jump in. We got a lot of questions coming in. Someone says, should I build my motor for my 09 Audi A4? So that's a B8? A4?
Yeah, that's a... yeah.
It depends. That's like saying, should I add 3 bedrooms to my house? I don't know. Did you want more bedrooms? That motor can produce a decent amount of power with a stock block. So if you just want to do like KO4 or even kind of like a street stage 3 type setup, I don't believe you'll need to. I think once you start getting into the kind of the 400, 450 wheel or crank torque numbers, then you're going to want to do rods and pistons for sure. So if you're just keeping the car stock, you absolutely don't need to. Even like IS, what are those? KO4? IS38?
KO4.
The KO4. Absolutely, you don't need to. So yeah, it just depends. I was asking, are you guys still working on an RS5 oil catch can and inlet pipe? We are. In fact, if you watch David Mushienko's 17-minute long 034 tour
the day
video, which was just really good, it's probably as good or better than anything we could do. He did a great job on it. And it's a really nice behind-the-scenes look from... honestly, it's like something you'd see like on CNN.
It was very well produced.
Yeah, it's incredibly well produced. And he's also very good behind the camera. Much better than either of us. But anyways, you'll see a glimpse of the upcoming RS5 carbon fiber super duper inlet pipe. And we are finalizing an oil catch can system for that as well. Mk7 Gti with IS38 swap wanted to know if there's a tune for that.
Not at this time. We are working on that.
We're finalizing.
It's in the pipeline.
Well, we have
Yep.
cars running on it.
Yep.
Can you tell me more about wheel spin on a 034 Stage 2 tune on a Mk8 GTI?
I'm not sure what you're looking to.
Well, wheel spin is when the wheel spins faster than the speed that it's rolling.
Yes, and you're the ground underneath you. So that is a side effect of Stage 2 calibrations on a Mk8 GTI. I don't know what more we.
I will say that we work to limit it, or optimize the amount of wheel spin through our torque curve programming. Certainly on the DSG cars, but even on the manual cars, we can make more torque down low, and we choose not to, because it would simply just spin the tires. But if you have a more specific question, please do a follow up. We'll be happy to answer it. Oh, someone's asking, how are you two doing?
Oh, doing great.
Nate?
Living the dream. No, it's been dealing with kids and baseball and all that. So probably personal life's been busy and running everywhere. But doing great. Lots of projects in the mix.
Yeah, busy. I'm doing very good. I was just I do speaker building on the side as a fun hobby, and I design DIY kits for people to build. I work with several of the big companies in that industry who sell parts to build speakers, and I work with them to take their parts and design kits. So all the design, engineering, and the hard work is done, and then you just have to build it. I just do it for fun. I'm kind of passionate about DIY, and obviously 034 does a lot to support DIY. But there's a big speaker show, high-end audio show in Chicago called Axpona, and it was fun. So I had 2 of my designs featured there, being played in different rooms, being compared to like speakers that cost like $20,000 or $50,000,
right,
$200,000. Which the 2 kits I had there cost like $2,000 to build. So it was really fun. A lot of good feedback and a lot of drinking.
That will happen.
A lot of speaker nerdery. So I'm feeling good coming off that. Thanks for asking. Good afternoon. Now that the SPI mobile app has been out for a while, do you all have any plans to sell an ethanol sensor kit that integrates with the app?
So we've got a couple of different avenues on that. We don't have anything imminent for like a standalone, sensor driver Bluetooth thing of our own. So no, nothing there. What we will probably be doing more is the ECUs. We're doing an actual sensor, integration to the ECU. You'll be able to then see that on the app.
Like a flex.
It'll be a gauge. Yeah, you'll get a flex fuel essentially. Yeah. Display on the gauge, but no, not like a fuelet style.
Well, I think that's even.
What's that? Yeah, of course, because ECU.
It satisfies the question, and it takes it even one step.
Yep.
Will you ever make Porsche parts? Maybe. It's definitely a new market that we could go into, especially with a lot of the 4-cylinder turbo stuff. That's kind of come out in the last 5-10 years. There was a period where we were serious about Porsche for like a couple years, and it's a tough market. This was kind of like 996, 997 era.
Yeah, 997 was new and current. 996 was like the bargain
Everybody
hot rod
was
car.
telling you, yeah, you could buy a 996 turbo for like $30,000.
Yeah.
And it's a small market. It's just a different market, and a lot of the stuff that we're good at that works in Volkswagen Audi tuning is seen differently in that market by those owners. The problem with the new cars, like the 992, they're just so fucking good. And they have like active suspension and active sway bars, and it's like you can put like wheels and tires on them. And I guess you can calibrate them.
Sure, I mean you do all the same tricks, but you're starting at a very different, platform level for most of those. I mean, there's the regular, like you said, the 2-liter cars, the Macans, and some of the
Yeah. Well, there's those, but once you're talking like
if you get into the exotic stuff,
yeah, the 911 series, it's harder. But yeah, on the turbo flat fours and stuff like that, definitely that's something we could do. We're currently very, very focused on VW Audi tuning and calibration, so that's where our focus is right now. Can you confirm rumors about 0 through 4 researching new B9 injectors?
I think we've had more than rumors out there now.
Yeah, no, they're not rumors. We've got
active beta.
We've been talking about it openly.
Yeah.
So yes, it's happening. We are testing injectors. In fact, right now the only thing holding things up is we're manufacturing the injectors.
Yeah.
So we got a guy out there with a drill, just drilling, open the end. No, just kidding. We're working with a very, very high-tech company who's taking factory injectors, and they have the engineering expertise to take apart the injectors, resize the valving, and re-engineer the injector to flow more fuel. And these aren't just like DIY guys turned professional. These are people who used to work for Bosch in the industry, who have done engineering on these FSI injectors. So we're very excited to bring that product to market. We haven't released it yet.
I think we did put a call out for people early.
We are doing some data.
So we've certainly been talking about it. Yeah.
0 BS, 3 gigachads, and a 4-wheel drive.
Okay.
I kind of know what a gigachad is.
I'm sure where the 3
Gigachad is it's like a really confident, normal guy with a big chin.
This is Gigachad.
Yeah, he's got the big chin and stuff.
Yeah.
There's like a filter. Oh, I wish I had a chin that strong. My chin
I really can't get it up.
It's maybe a mega chad at the most chin. I don't know. Maybe like a centi chad.
What's the demigods? You have demi chad.
Yeah, demi chad. Sooner or later, one of these is going to sound really perverted.
You got to be careful.
Mm-hmm. Are you guys going to make new parts for the RS3, the 8Y RS3?
I'm guessing that's new parts for the new RS3.
Yeah. Yeah, we have, and we are. We do have a decent product line of 8Y RS3 parts on our website currently, if you go take a look. Those seem to be getting a little bit more attention as of late, but they've been pretty quiet.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a bunch of stuff for them already, and we're working on more too. Any quarter-mile times on the MR1900 with camps?
I don't have any full clean quarter miles in it. No, that's not a easy thing to do around here.
Yes, but if you'd like to do it, let us know.
Yeah,
we will work with you.
Yeah. We do a lot of our testing, on dyno, on road course stuff. So lots of time at Laguna and on the dyno and all of the other testing in between. But for straight up quarter mile things, that's not something we do on the street every day.
What maintenance items should I do before going dual pulley B8.5?
I think this is like a weekly
many
question. I mean, there's all the normal stuff. Obviously, just basic maintenance, filters, oil changes, all that stuff. Stage dual pulley, you'll want to make sure your cooling is up to snuff. So intercooler or heat exchanger upgrades. You will need an intake of some sort at that power level. But then maintenance-wise, the intercooler cores are a common failure item on those. Injectors are a common failure item. Spark plugs, lots of people forget, some simple things like spark plugs are going to be, getting more heavily stressed. Coils, I don't know mileage on this thing, so I'm just throwing everything at the wall. It's pretty common knowledge at this point for what needs to be done out there, but injectors, intercooler brakes, those are the two gotchas that a lot of people run into.
Did you mention cats?
Oh,
not like you should go.
That's an age thing. Yeah, you can certainly put a scope down there and take a look and see what kind of health your catalysts are in, because those just stock will deteriorate, and when they do it, they become a cork in the end of the airflow path. So it takes out a motor real quick if you've got a failed set of catalysts in there.
All right. Oh, apparently we are the gigachads, and there's Justin is also
the guy behind the camera. Oh,
congratulations, Justin. I think that's a good thing.
I think so.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
I want a yellow 034 gas cap. We hadn't considered doing different colors. I wonder if it would get like dirty,
Was that all the grime and stuff?
Yeah, it would be easy to clean though. Sure. Can we get floating ZTF wheel center caps? Oh my god, are those the spinny ones?
Yeah, the balanced ones.
No. I mean, yeah. No, I don't think so. They're probably really heavy and prone to breaking. I don't think they'd hold up on track. They're probably not even legal.
I think Merck's got them on his M2, I think, right? Yeah, see?
They're floating? They spin?
Everyone else just sits static.
And what is it, like? It's like sitting on a bearing or something?
Yep. Yeah, it's just a weighted...
it's like a half weight, it's like a weight, that's what keeps it upright.
Yep.
But what?
It's on a bearing in the spin. Yeah. Just like the old spinners.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. BMW guys.
Hello guys, Audi B9 SQ5 93 octane file. What would the max ethanol contents
Question mark
be? Question mark. Looking to migrate to full E85, but the transition could be scary.
I'm not sure what the question is here. I think he's looking to switch to the 85 calibration. We have a whole write-up on, or a video. Did we do a video? I know Nick did a full write-up. I think there's a video on that too, on what you can expect and how to make that transition as easy as possible. So the basics are run it way down on fuel, fill it up with 85, drive for a bit, and then do your flash. But we don't have a recommended max ethanol content for 93.
What's so scary about going full 85?
I'm not sure. Let's watch the video and you'll see kind of what
I could see, if you're worried about flushing the system out and stuff.
Yeah, I think there might be
just give it a little time.
Yeah, and I mean the 93 file running with 85 in the tank, full 85 to get you back home and stuff. It's gonna run. It's just a matter of you'll want to get it on the 85 file shortly thereafter.
This is an interesting question. Would you rather never make your chili again or drive a 4MQ7 with an ABA swap for the rest of your life?
2 points low.
I think I would take the hit and drive a 4MQ7 because the chili brings other people so much joy, and I couldn't take that away from people.
You could you go back to the ZD days and just take the chili out of the mix, and 4MQ7 is pretty rough with an ABA in it.
Yeah, I don't know.
You just call it something.
Could it get good gas mileage at least?
I doubt it. The thing's going to be a wide open throttle to get out of the parking spot.
Yeah, I don't know. Once it's up on the freeway, it should be okay. It should hold
40 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's a tough question, man. That's one of those. There's just no good answer. But I think I'd rather continue to bring joy to the masses.
You can just rebrand your chili as something entirely different. It's just chili. Do a marketing spin on it.
But the deity running these
essence of the question
dilemmas knows they can see that shit. It's not. Yeah, you can't game this, Nate. Apparently Volkswagen and Audi make floating center caps, but
Nick took personal offense to my being
also not allowed on track. But I don't know. Maybe it is something we could do.
It's always something we could do, whether we want to go down that path.
Yeah. My B9 RS5 is about to get turbo swapped to TTE 720s. I daily the car and only has 30,000 miles. Any concerns with all the upgrades as far as reliability?
I mean, that's basically the same setup we've got, same mileage. We track the crap out of it, and
the one concern you should have is if you push it hard, you will eventually need to do head studs.
Yeah, that's just one of those supporting mods that really is.
It is at this point a supporting mod. If you wanted to do it now as part of the work, I would recommend it. I think if you if you stick to maybe a 91 file or something, it won't be as much of an issue.
Yeah, no, it's
But once you get into the
much more tough on the higher load.
the E stuff, you're gonna lift the heads. It's just a matter of time. The good news is when it happens, it's not catastrophic or anything. You're just going to start pressurizing your cooling system. And
that's the other thing is it was tricky for us to, when we initially ran into this, diagnose, because there's like no other symptoms than when you're like on a racetrack or doing really sustained heavy load stuff like on a dyno.
And the chance of it happening on the street is much, much lower.
Yeah.
But other than that, the car's rock solid and there's nothing to worry about.
Make sure you've got all the supporting mods. You've got intercooler upgrade for sure, intake. You make sure your injectors are in good health.
Injectors. You're going to have to change your plugs more often,
You will need to, yes, that is a maintenance item we keep stressing more and more.
10,000 miles or depending on how hard you drive and how much you drive. But, spark plugs are consumables. The Klimax Tune update fixed my launch issue. It launches very fast now. Just got 2 more things to fix, but it brought a smile to my coworker's face, and he isn't even into cars. Great job, guys. That's good to hear. I thought he was going to say, it's very fast now, and I just got 2 more speeding tickets.
Yeah.
But no, that's great to hear. That was the other, and David Mushenko's video, himself giggling like a schoolgirl was
we were still doing the beta Klimax stuff at that point.
And then at times both him and Sean were just giggling like 6-year-old.
It hits good and strong now.
And it was genuine laughing too.
Yes. Yep.
Tears in the eyes.
None of that was scripted.
No, it's great. Yeah, and there is, like, whether you're into cars or not, the sensation of acceleration is just a fun, engaging human experience. So, who'd probably love it the most is your mom. Just take her out and just give her a couple really good whacks.
Yeah. I mean, it's why there's like amusement parks and roller coasters, and we like it and get thrown around.
Yeah. I just installed the stage 1 suspension kit. Do the springs lower a bit over time, or is it immediate ride height? Where is it going to sit? Yeah, springs do settle, as we like to call it. I'm not sure I know exactly what's going on metallurgically, but a coil spring is a hardened, tempered steel that develops a certain level of spring based on how much it's tempered, which means a normal piece of steel would just bend and it wouldn't spring back. So spring steel, you can bend it and it pops right back. But from the time the steel is manufactured to when it goes in the car and then it sees that kind of sustained long-term load applied to it, the springs do seem to settle a little bit. I don't think we have a rule of thumb on how much they settle. However, we will get customers that this is a thing. They install the springs, they're not happy with it. We tell them, why don't you drive it for 2 weeks and get back to us? And we either never hear from them or they tell us it looks good now, it's settled. So we see it with our own cars in engineering when we
we have a minimum drive time after any new
when we get installs. A sample set of springs from our spring manufacturer, we do install them and then we just put miles on it for like at least a week before we even consider measuring it or anything. So, and
also be sure that I'm not saying otherwise, but that when the install was done, that all of the bushings were torqued at ride height.
Yeah,
those can also artificially lift the car a little bit if they're torqued down at full droop. You're basically increasing the spring, and you will trash the bushings as well. But make sure the vehicle's fully flat and full weight on the springs when those are torqued.
Yeah. Okay, we got a lot of questions.
Yep.
Do you think the turbo engineers are working on TTE 910 for the B9 3.0T? Yeah, we are. We work very closely with TTE now, since we are kind of the biggest B9 turbo tuner out there. And we are talking to them about a next bigger size. It's not necessarily going to be 910, but there is more coming for the RS5 and the S4 applications. Looking for a new set of wheels for my Mk7 Golf R. Can you tell me a little bit about forged wheels? So our forged wheels are designed to be the lightest and strongest forged wheel on the market. We've had them out for what, four plus years now.
Yeah.
They are very, very strong, very light, very great performing wheel. And we also design and engineer them to fit very well on the Volkswagen Audi applications that we sell them for. Typically, there's no need for even a spacer. Unlike other companies that they create a forging and then they machine it to kind of fit different offsets. And so they just sell you offsets. These wheels are actually designed to fit on these Volkswagen Audi cars. And in some cases, that's why we have a 9.3 wide wheel, and we have offset sizes that again fit perfectly, typically without a spacer, or if you needed a spacer, a very small one. For the Mk7 Golf R, we have an 18 by 8.5 ET45 for that application. It's 18 pounds, fits perfectly. And then there's a lot of detail and information on our website. If you'd like to go look there, I can talk about it a little bit, but you can see much more detail and documentation there on the wheel pages. And for today, they are on sale for 5% off. They're not cheap wheels. We don't have a lot of markup on them. They're really expensive to make. But our Unsprung sale does go through today. And that goes for anyone who's watching. Our Unsprung sale ends today. Whole line of springs, spacers, wheels, and some other stuff on sale for today, through today. Yeah, and again, the sale is 5% off forged wheels, 10% off flowform wheels, spacers, wheel studs, Dynamic Plus 2-piece rotors, our whole line of lowering springs, and our tuning. ECU tuning is also 10% off. Noob question: how does buying a tuning kit work from the likes of Revo? Do you get anything physical like a plug-in, OBD programmer, etc.? Also easier to program the Mk7 over the Mk8.
Well, we're not Revo, so I'm not sure what kit they're
referring to.
But what we would provide is you buy the tune and a flashing device for that tune, so a flashing dongle, and then there's a software that is loaded either on your phone or laptop, and that device is used to flash through the OBD port for the vehicle. So likely very similar, but yeah, that's the gist of it. As far as ease of flashing, they're all Mk7 and Mk8 are both flashed via the exact same method from the end user. So it's just a matter of plugging it in and running through the software. So yeah, we've got the same interface, the same user experience for Mk7 versus Mk8. You can flash it through your phone, computer, whatever.
Why is stage 1 hardware recommended but not required? That's because our goal with stage 1 is to provide tuning that can just be flashed to a stock vehicle and work with the stock intercooler, the stock intake, the stock everything. And we are able to generate a massive, huge performance increase while not requiring any additional modifications. As you get higher and higher up the stage ladder, the modifications do become necessary. You simply cannot generate that level of power performance with the stock components any longer. So the stage 1 is designed to be accessible. It could be the only mod you do to your car, and it would just completely transform.
Yeah, lots of people run just that. But the recommended mods is then like, do you want to optimize that to be its ultimate form? And then that's what the recommended parts will get you.
Yeah. So the recommended parts are recommended. They're not frivolous.
Yes.
They will generate more performance. And that's the beauty of it, right? So if you just want to do stage 1 flash for now, you can. And then if you add our intake, you can generate more power with the intake and the stage 1 tuning. You don't have to change anything in the tuning. If you decide to do the intercooler, you'll also generate more power. So the stage 1 baseline is stock components, but you can build up. So you could consider those hardware mods as little stages in the stage 1 journey. Then you would go up from there. I installed camber plates, RCO control arms on my 8S. Handles amazing. Are extended. Tie rods still coming. And what prevents the 8S from running as much camber as the Mk7 8V? Currently maxed at minus 2.4 until the springs fully settle. Yes, extended tie rods are coming. They're basically being manufactured currently. The 8S does have a very different suspension than the 8V Mark 7. I'm blanking on the spot, but some of the arms are slotted, some of them aren't, and I think that may be the issue with the 8S. Maybe the
I am not a guru on that one. I've been out of the loop on those.
So,
The
if you
intricacies.
go to our arms or with our ball joints, then you can do as much camber as you want. Within
the physical in this.
Yeah. Can you say more about what happened with the initial run of 034 billet B9 oil caps? Yes. So whenever we worked with a manufacturer to make those for us because it's an O-ring and it's a piece of billet and there's a spring and there's an assembly, and so this particular company puts it all together and ships it to us ready to ship in a really nice box and everything. And we approved the production samples, and they were because they were good. And then when they made it, they somehow made the O-ring thicker than we specified. So thankfully, it's just an O-ring. The new O-rings, they've already made them, and they're shipping them to us. So as soon as we get those, we will begin shipping those out. But the O-rings that we got are 4 millimeters thick, and the O-rings are supposed to be 3 millimeters. So there's an extra millimeter there. Yeah. And the cap can't even be installed. It's just too thick.
Sweet.
Flashing my Mark 8 GTI with stage 1 this week. What is the recommended amperage for the battery charger? I saw 20, but that seemed really high.
There's a lot of different answers to this, but we typically a 20 amp charger is fine for maintaining voltage on these cars during a flashing.
Well, it's more than fine.
That's the idea. Depends on the car.
Because lots of people use smaller.
Lots of people use smaller, and lots of people don't use anything.
Yeah. Right.
So that's what I'm saying. Like the 20 is a good in the middle of the road. The professional flashing power supplies, you're in the 100 plus amp because they will stabilize the voltage and hold it. But a 20 amp charger is generally going to be totally sufficient.
Yeah, and I think there's a CT.
Oh god, now you just wrecked my brain. ctek.
ctek. Yeah. That's like $200 for that one.
Yeah, they're super nice chargers too.
And it's a really
nice reconditioning, float level charging. They'll do,
and you can use it on any car.
Maintenance mode. Yeah, it's one of those tools that's just you kind of should have one in your garage.
Yeah, it's not just for flashing. Here we go. Can you guys make a video connecting the ctek battery charger off first flashing? The battery charger doesn't come with terminal clamps.
Yes, it does.
It must.
It certainly does. I don't know which charger they bought. There's a couple of cteks that are made for
specific.
They're just trickle chargers, and they'll be like a motorcycle or a long-term storage where they've just got a bullet connector. That's not the charger we're talking about. There's a 20 amp version. I don't know the model number, but it certainly has clips. Normal alligator clips.
Mm-hmm. What do you guys think about the B6 RS6?
B6.
So the C5, the C5 RS6.
It's not a B if it's not a 6. It's a C6.
No,
that's the 4.2.
They must be talking about the C5 RS6 because we didn't have that. We
didn't get it. There was the V10. Was it a V10?
We never
the twin turbo. Yeah, so we don't think much of that because we never got to play with it.
It does look like a B6 though.
My brain is failing me here.
If you're asking about the C5 RS6, it's an old car now. You know, those are going on 20 years. Yeah. They were ridiculous when they came out. I remember the first time I rode in one, and it was just like, oh my god, just torque everywhere. But now they're older cars. I don't know what they're selling for, but they're going to need a lot of maintenance. There's 2 of everything. I actually don't hear about them much anymore.
No, I don't either. They've gotten, I think, to be that point where the cost of ownership just in time and maintenance has gotten pretty rough on them.
Yeah, but
The transmission's pretty.
They're cool cars. I mean, you
terrible.
could get an S6 4.0T, like a C6 S6, and that's
C7.
sorry, C7 S6, and that's just a whole nother level of vehicle. Yeah, I would definitely go for some, and those are still cheap. I am stage 393 on TTE 710. Why, when I start my car, Maddle stumbles for a while.
Contact us. We will take a look at that. I'm not sure which fuel you're on, but it should be a clean startup. So I have some thoughts, but yeah, get in touch with tuning at 034 Motorsport, and we'll take a look.
Yeah, it could be injector related.
It should fire up clean.
Someone's asking about 2024 S4 flashing.
Yep, we rolled a bunch of that out last week. So yes, those should all be supported. As far as I know, we've got all those covered now. So yes, go ahead and get on it.
Yeah, shoot us an email, tuning at 034 Motorsport if you have a question.
Yeah, it's as of like last week. So we just got that stuff pushed up to the servers.
2021 RS5 Sportback. I just installed your dynamic springs. My brain can't connect the more comfortable ride with a massive improvement in handling.
Nice.
In any mode, it handled great. Thanks. Great to hear. That's exactly our goal.
What we're shooting for.
Yeah. Would I be able to run the 034 front and rear sway bar set on my B9 A4 with only the rear bar while I wait to install the front bar?
Yep.
You can. That's a little stiffer than we would recommend.
Yeah, you'll have a lively rear end.
Yeah, just be careful. Going into corners and lifting the throttle.
That's still an adjustable rear, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
so you could set it to soft if you want to be safe. And I'm not saying it's gonna be dangerous, but we just want to make sure that you don't go out and like spin the car.
It's also just not our cultivated experience.
Yeah, and we don't advocate for doing that bar on its own unless you're very comfortable with a lively oversteering rear end. So we try to be careful with that kind of stuff, because when that can really bite you is, let's say you're kind of going into a corner and then you realize you're going too fast, or there's a little old lady walking across the street and you lift. That's, when you do that sudden abrupt lift, you can spin the car, and
you're gonna have more action going on in the back of the car.
More action in the rear, and you may not like that. Will a simple intake void Audi warranty? It should not.
I mean, we get this question a lot. Unless they can prove that it's related to whatever mode of failure that they're warrantying, it should not.
Yeah. So if a piece of the intake breaks off and goes into your motor, then no, they will not warranty it, and they shouldn't. That's not Audi's fault. But if you install an intake and your engine starts smoking, and they say, well, we're not going to cover this, your rings have gone bad, and it's probably because of your intake, then it'd be like, well, how did the intake cause the rings, which are a known problem? Lots of other stock Audis have had this problem. So they do have an onus to prove or connect any kind of failure, and they do have a legal responsibility to offer a warranty on all their products. So doesn't mean they can't give you a hard time.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean that the service writer might be and doesn't want to do it, but it shouldn't, and you would have plenty of avenues to advocate for yourself if they did void your warranty for no reason. Late to the party, but just watched the CarWow video featuring the 034 tuned S4. What were the exact specs of the tune? Really cool to see 034 catalog featured and getting high remarks by industry. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was a great video.
That vehicle belonged to one of our customers, Wayne Ainsworth, in the UK. What was he running? Was he stage 3?
That was the 810 file, right?
Is he on 810?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that should be a stage 3 810 production file. Nothing special.
No,
it's not like we built that car.
That was all off the shelf stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a customer, and he used to work in the industry, and I guess he still does. Yeah, so confirmed that it was a stage 3 plus 93 octane TT 810.
Yep.
And Wayne uses Awesome in the UK for his parts and service. And I think he helps them out with their website and stuff too. Hi, when flashing back to stock, after a while, does it flash back to up-to-date files or just as original before flashing for first time B9 SQ5?
We will. The only time you will get a different file than you had exactly as it was presented to our server is when we tell you there is an update that is going to be applied. We don't do any kind of box code changing or updates that you don't know about. When you flash it back to stock from any of your tune files, it is the same file that your car came in on. Silva Bullet, yeah. So yeah, no updates will happen behind the scenes. If there's an update we're rolling, that Audi is rolling out that we're migrating to, we'll let you know that there's an OEM update.
I don't know who owns the Silva Bullet. It's a B4 Audi 90 with a 12L VR6 swap. This is old.
Yeah. What is the date on this?
It's published 2012, so 12 years ago. Dear God.
Mm-hmm.
I hope the car is still in good shape. It's a cool car.
Yeah,
but it could be in a junkyard somewhere. I don't hope not. Has the 8Y RS3 ECUs been cracked yet? I don't want to spend $5,000 on Syvecs. Oh dear God.
There are some playing with it. It is still very early days for that platform. So yeah, Syvecs I think is definitely or standalone is still I think the most common option on that platform.
Well, it's the only option.
So hang tight. There's guys doing all kinds of crazy stuff with them, and that's the case with any of these earlier platforms or earlier, entries to mods. There's all kinds of crazy things you can do to the stock ECUs to get them unlocked, but it's not a very accessible thing. You can do things like
it's one-off
processor chip swaps and that kind of thing get come into play. So
I'll just say if. I think the Syvecs type solution is good for some people.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking to make over 1,000 horsepower, if you want to completely control the performance of the car and you don't really care about smogability or drivability or, reliability, all the abilities.
Yeah, all the abilities. I mean, you can, and the thing is, yeah, people assume standalone is, well, there's a lot of assumptions about it, but the day-to-day drivability is one of the most difficult things to get refined anywhere close to an OEM level experience. So
yeah,
making power, doing full power pulls, and drag racing is on the easier spectrum of things. If you want to talk time involved.
Yeah, my point is, if you're looking for like a stage 1 or even a stage 2 or even like a relatively standard stage 3 file, just wait for a proper ECU calibration from someone like us. The Syvecs stuff, it comes with lots of compromises. It's a great standalone ECU, but the factory stuff is so much more advanced. The Syvecs, from a performance standpoint, can do more than the factory ECU. It has more bells and whistles and more features. But as far as reliability, day-to-day drivability, and like starting reliably, idling well,
diagnostic things like diagnostic, just all the things you expect these days from modern.
I have driven several of those cars, and they're fast and they drive well enough, but they're not smooth, refined like the factory ECU. So it's not that far out, but if you're in a big hurry, I think it's a really expensive, highly compromised option. I have a B9 RS5. I ordered my tune last week and all the other supporting parts recently. Any turbo inlet upgrades? Oh, we did an update. This one. Yep. So if you want to rewind about 30 minutes, but yes, we have a super duper turbo inlet, a full carbon fiber piece coming out in the future. Hi, gents. Question about the 2.9T. With a 10-to-1 compression ratio, will it be possible to increase the power past what the TT720 can provide on a stock motor if fueling and head studs are upgraded?
Yeah, potentially. We're kind of at that point on those motors where we don't want to push much more mid-range, just from torque for rod longevity and that kind of thing. That said, we haven't had any issues on those motors yet. No. So it's kind of one of those keep turning it up till it's a problem and dial it back situations, which yeah, there's potentially more in it, but right now we're at a really good place where we're at, maximizing the turbo, the fuel system, the motor. So yeah, there's more in there for sure.
Yeah.
But it comes with its own considerations.
So it says you referred about B9S4 rocker arm issue like something so rare, like hysteria fueled on the net by a workshop. But recently your UK dealer shown a project car which had to fix that. Thoughts on it?
No, it's
Well,
not.
yeah.
It's not a
That's
zero,
rare.
it's not a zero
still
chance that you're
rare
gonna
thing to happen. I mean, you're talking one anecdotal example. On the whole, it is not a real common issue. It is rare. That means you'll see 5 or 6 a year on the internet or something like that. Out of tens of thousands of cars,
Right.
It's very, very rare. And yes, it does pop up every once in a while. But to make it sound like all cars have it, or even half the cars, or even 5% of the cars have a problem with it, that is hysterical.
And yeah, to my knowledge, there's no recall campaign. There
is
on the
for
reverse.
2018s. Audi.
There's updates, but I don't know that Audi officially rolled out. Recall. There's
they did come out with updates.
Yeah, no, they changed the parts, but there's no acknowledgement from Audi that it's really.
Yeah, I don't think there was a recall per se. No. But I mean, Audi does that all the time. They're always making improvements to parts, especially if they're seeing a high usage on it. Let's try to do this one kind of quick because we've gone over this before. But someone's asking, what lambda do you guys consider safe at wide open throttle on stage 3 B9 pump gas?
That is a very variable question. That is going to depend on things like.
Hold on. Let me just make one statement. There is no one safe lambda for wide open throttle. There are a myriad of wide open throttle conditions, and there are appropriate tuning strategies when it comes to lambda for all those different tuning conditions. So there's a big misconception right now that we're seeing that people think that this is a type of conventional wisdom or a rule of thumb, which their conventional wisdom and rules of thumb are almost never right, or they're only right in a very narrow set of circumstances.
Yeah, there's all these caveats around it.
Although they're taken to be true across all circumstances. So, as a rule of thumb, there is no one lambda value that's safe under wide open throttle. And that's creating a lot of confusion out there because people are either believing, or there are people who know better who are propagating this idea that everything always needs to be lambda X. And it's just simply not true. Yeah. You have something to add to that?
No, it's just, it basically is that. There's so many variables that, there's no watt. What is watt? Is it how much boost? How much, what are your EGTs at the time? What's the, what are the air temps? What are
all the temps?
There's a ton of things that go into that. So
what kind of fuel do you have? It's going to vary between gasoline and ethanol.
Yeah, there's no one number that covers any of it.
So that's the source of this confusion and concern, is a basic misunderstanding of how an ECU calculates safe lambda. All right, we got a ton of questions. Any changes that should be made after installing lowering links, either physical alignment or something, or software through VCDS? I'm not aware of anything. I think you could you in VCDS do some, is there an adjustment?
Yeah, there's sort of, there's the calibration, but it's, you're basically altering that reading anyway, which is the whole point of the lowering links. In theory, if you're going to run at a much lower static height, I would suggest maybe retorquing your control arms at that static height. So that's going to put a little extra strain on it, but this is still within the range that the factory is normally running, so it's not like it's that far up. So, no, I don't think it is going to affect your alignment. Again, this is all things you could optimize. It is going to affect your alignment some. So it's just going to be wherever you're going to primarily be riding.
Yeah, if
you will benefit from doing all those things.
That's a good point. Is your alignment should be set to whatever height you drive the most. Mm-hmm. But the less you lower it, the less you need to do. You see that top comment?
I guess somebody's asking about the locked TCUs. We are still working on it. We know about it.
Yeah. the locked 401 bootloader TCUs.
Yep.
It's ongoing.
Yep.
Are you guys excited for the torque splitter coming to the new facelift S3? And do you think it would make its way into models with automatic trans like the B9 Q chassis, or is it not needed?
Yeah, so the B9 the B9 chassis had that for a while.
Yeah,
that's the sport diff. It's got a torque vectoring rear differential option that's been there for a long time. B8 had it as well.
It'll be nice to have in the S3. It's interesting. People haven't gotten that excited about S3s.
No.
Since the RS3's been out, in the US, the focus on the S3 has diminished. I remember when the S3 first came out, before the RS3 was here.
The new B5 S4.
We bought one. We had a whole program around it. People were going crazy with them. They were tracking them. And then the RS3 showed up, and everybody kind of got out of their S3s and moved to that. And it is really hard messing with an S3 when there's an RS3,
Yep.
for another 5-10 grand or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and recently there's been the Golf R, which gets you that better diff. That hasn't been an option in the S3.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a good thing. I think the S3 is a great platform.
I'm a fan of the S3. I think
they handle better than RS3.
I like the interior finish better. I like the build itself, but the Golf R is pretty strong too.
In the market for a 2017 to 2019 Q7 3.0T, just went through the 034 Motorsport website. Is there really no tuning support for those?
Damn
it. There is. It's coming.
It's coming. We're working on it
every day to get it released. But I drive a Q7 every day
with tuning on it.
Yeah. Also, last week we installed our clutch delete.
Yes.
Clutch,
So we're doing a bunch more stuff for the CREC platform coming up. So.
I gotta say though that has transformed the car from a drivability standpoint.
Yeah.
It actually makes me want to use the throttle now, because before it almost felt like the transmission was sloppy because you tip into the power, nothing would happen. Then you get a surge of power when you didn't really want it. Now it's just smooth and linear, and it has that whole 3.0 T supercharged character.
The instant response.
Instant.
Because it would have to. So what we're talking about there is the supercharger disengages basically entirely on the CREC motor. So the later 3.0 T supercharged motors. There's a magnetic clutch in that assembly that will engage at a certain amount of torque and spin up that supercharger. You're spinning up a pretty large amount of mass really quickly. So you're inevitably going to feel it. So as stock tuned or otherwise.
It's actually pretty bad, and once it's gone, you don't realize how bad it was.
Yeah. Well, you attribute that's just how this car drives to that transition.
When you guys provided tuning data numbers for the MRA 1900, was it E40 with cams installed or without? Will there be a Water-meth injection file or full E85 file for stage 3 tune and higher PR like 3.0 pulley ratio like 3.0?
All that is coming. It's very dependent right now on fuel supply. That is where the majority of the work is right now.
From the injector fuel pumps.
The whole system. So right now it's one of those things. Unfortunately, there's no quick development path. So we're testing various components and hardware, and then if we need to change or adjust or retool anything, it takes some time. So there's no one-day fix for any of that, unfortunately. So we are working on it quite a lot, and there's a lot more coming. But as for your first question, I think numbers I'm thinking we posted online, that was E40 with cams, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah it was.
Mm-hmm. I want to say it was right around 500 wheel or so on our dyno.
There's another question about chargers. We just answered that. Or is that the same one? It's up towards the top. What are your thoughts on a Mark 7 RS3 swaps? Example like the Humble Mechanic. If we're talking like a front-wheel drive GTI, it seems. It's cool.
Super cool.
I would rather just get an RS3.
Did he do it stock, or was that just front-wheel drive? I've seen just.
It would make more sense to do a Golf R.
Yeah. It was a Golf R.
It was a Golf R.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, that's a cool motor swap for a Golf R.
There's been a couple that have been done.
I think I guess personally, I'm not super big on it, but there's no reason you can't, and it's a good, if you want to swap a motor in a Golf R, it's a good one.
It's a whole motor.
You can also make a lot of power on the 4-cylinder stock motor, but it's never going to be as good as the RS3.
You're not going to have the sound either.
No. So yeah, it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess you have to decide, is the hatchback worth it over having the sedan RS3? Upgraded pulley on a B8 S4 stage 1. Is there anything wrong with it?
Anything wrong with it?
Like with doing a pulley on stage 1?
Okay. We have guys that will do that are at altitude. So they'll put a little bit higher pulley ratio on to kind of make up the difference they have in atmospheric pressure. But as far as like the stage 1 tune is designed to work with the stock pulley ratio ideally. So yeah, there are boost caps and limits because all your when you increase the boost requests, the torque requests, all that, ideally to get the best drivability, you want that to ride pretty close to what the maximum output of the supercharger is. So you don't want it scaled way up so you can just put any pulley on any file. You lose a lot of drivability and pedal control and all that there. So yeah, it's matched pretty closely to what it should be running. But if you're at altitude, yes, you can put a pulley on with zero compromises essentially at altitude.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for the help and support. I have a question regarding a 2023 Mark 8 GTI with a manual transmission. The engine shakes a lot. How can I minimize this? Could it be related to the engine mount? I'm guessing you have like a dead hole or something. I mean,
I don't know what shakes a lot means.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's a 4-cylinder.
There's no way we can answer this reliably.
Impossible troubleshooting things.
You should, it sounds like you may want to take it to a mechanic. If anything, you could run codes and see if it has any engine codes. If it has no codes, and you really feel like the engine's shaking, it could be something in the drivetrain. Although, again,
yeah, it's so hard. We don't know what you mean by using shakes a lot, so it could just be totally normal. Nick's chiming in here. Oh, if he's talking maybe transition, like the engine rocks under throttle application, then yeah, I mean all of our inserts will certainly help that.
If by shaking you mean the engine moves a lot and you can feel it, then that's what our motor mounts, our density line motor mounts are for, and our inserts and things like that. Yeah,
the lower into the dog bone, the dog bone insert will be one of the more substantive changes for that.
Yeah. Anything look good?
Let's see.
There was one about. Here. This is good. B9 S5 Stage 3 Plus 91 crackle tune. I noticed if it crackles a lot in a short period of time, the crackles stop for a few minutes. Why is that?
That is I mean, we could do logs to confirm it, but that's very likely EGT based.
Yeah.
So we have conditions where we don't want to keep cranking up exhaust gas temps if we don't.
Yeah, it's for safety.
It's a safety.
You can overheat the cabin.
Yeah.
So
the turbine, so it's just.
So we let you crackle until you done crackle too much, and then we put you in the crackle timeout for a little while, and then you can crackle again.
Because it's obviously a superficial thing. We're not going to prioritize more crackles over a controlled EGT model.
Yeah. Do you recommend full E85 over 93 with Water-meth, or can I safely run E85 with Water-meth 4M.5 Q7 3.0T running your Stage 3 Plus?
I would always recommend full E85.
I mean, 93 with Water-meth isn't really a thing compared to E85.
It's such a, I know there's people trying to push the Water-meth or the injection narratives right now.
There's no way.
It's on a case-by-case basis, it can work as a like strategy or a global like acceptance thing. It's a very difficult path to follow, just because the Water-meth system, like Jawad said, it isn't a thing. It's a whatever you built and put on your car, and whatever state of repair or disrepair it might be in. I don't know that I've yet seen a system that is reliable enough that I would recommend it to the masses.
You just don't need water. Yeah. If you have our tuning and you're on any of our tunes, there's really no benefit to running. The meth can increase the octane rating of say like a 91 or 93 file,
Yeah.
depending on how much you inject. The water itself just converts from liquid, to vapor, and it absorbs heat, from the combustion cycle, but it doesn't burn. It doesn't add any more energy or power to combustion. So typically what we would see on pure water injection would be a loss of power the more water you inject. Just think about, if you're making this much power without water injection, you can inject enough water to make zero power, and there's kind of a line between those two points. So I guess I would ask what you're hoping to accomplish with Water-meth, but you really don't need it.
Yeah, and beware, there are also people doing much more of a secondary fuel injection using Water-meth systems, which is kind of a different topic.
That's auxiliary fueling.
Yeah, it's essentially auxiliary fueling with a very simple application method.
Mm-hmm.
But again, as far as recommending it to the masses, it's a very difficult thing to get evenly distributed to all the cylinders in a very controlled and metered way. Usually it's just a amount of extra fuel that doesn't really change given RPMs or load. So it's a very crude system compared to what the ECU is doing.
Someone's asking about burbles on any of our stage tunes. Is it a separate charge? Yes, it's $2 per burble.
Per burble.
Yeah.
No, we depending on the platform. We'll denote if it's there or not on the product page, but it's included.
And it's all you can burble. As much burbling pretty much as you can do. We give it to you for free
until your EGTs get tried and we turn it.
Yeah. Once physics gets angry.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think we're out of time.
Oh my goodness, I didn't even see that. Yeah.
Lots of great questions this week. Thank you, everybody. I think we should be back next week.
Oh.
Same time, same channel.
See you guys.